Good evening, everybody. Looks like a lot of people have joined up already. Nice to see you all. It's a bit of a late night here. And then again, most of my nights have been quite late as of late. Haha. Yeah, it's, staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning is a regular thing at the moment. Which I can tell you right now is not a good habit to have. Particularly if you don't actually get to sleep during the day either. So it's one thing to stay up late or work late as a shift worker. Then you get home and you pull the blackened curtains across and you sleep for the next 6 to 8 hours. But what happens here is more I get to 4:30, 5 o'clock. I try to go to sleep, but then the glorious family of cats wake up and decide it's time to have fun and play. And they try to wake me up. And so I barely get an hour and a half of sleep, and I sneak in another maybe 2 during the day. It's not good. It's not good. It's my own damn fault. Yeah, burning the candle at both ends and the middle probably. I do not recommend it. It's on my highly not recommended list. Just finishing up this board here. Actually, this was the one I worked on last night. It wasn't obviously on stream or anything like that, but it was an absolute wreck. It wasn't so much over a large area, but all of the USB-C input area, it was just caked in that green frosting of corrosion, and a lot of different things were damaged. It was probably... I probably really shouldn't have put as much time as I did into it, but sometimes you're a bit of an idiot and you just go ahead with these things. It does work, or at least it did work before I put it back through its second ultrasonic clean. So fingers crossed it works yet again. Because it's all too easy to put these things through the ultrasonic one too many times, and it decides, nope, that's it, I've had it. Sick of that machine screaming at me, making me cleaner. There also is liquid damage on the side of the screen, but yeah, it's not intolerable. It's more just like, well, that's not really very pretty. Miles, well, I guess worth it is, it needs to last more than 3 months in the hands of the user, or preferably 6 months, maybe a year, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Because you know, if it's within 5 years of you doing work, it's your fault. And to be fair, there's a lot of damage on this board. I cleaned up and replaced a great number of parts. Damn it, I forgot to put the screen connector on. Better that I check that now than when I have everything else connected, because that's truly, utterly depressing when that happens. Hey Eddie. Is this... where's my T4? I'm kind of doing this now as well because I was expecting a bit of a slow uptake today on the video, because the last couple of videos it's been very sluggish on the start. Might have something to do with the fact that I'm not that popular. That happens. I do need to do more edited videos, and I know I keep saying that. It's just a case of actually getting around to it. I've got plenty of square to-its, but not very many round to-its. Okay. Yeah, Miles, even if they spill something on it, it will still be my fault though. I mean, you know how customers think. Okay, that's not fair. You know, not all customers are like that. But we're talking about the ones that, the customers that we remember, the customers that make you write new policies in order to avoid those customers in the future, or at least have some manner of damage control. More short cat videos, yes, I should do. Well, I want to do stuff of when I'm building the new PlayStation areas. We do have some plans for what we want to do. We've just got to do it. It does look like finally we'll be getting carpet on Monday. That has been a fiasco and a half of waiting, and we should, the tiling for the back patio room should be done at the end of next week. Yeah. So it's finally starting to happen. Been a boring, long process. Right. So putting some screws into this thing. Ach, niemand. Ach. Yep. It's always the danger of when I'm doing videos is that I get distracted, particularly with things like this. I'll give you until I fix it for people to try and guess what it is that I forgot. And if you guess what it is, you get nothing. Travis, what's your career? Ah, that's broken off too. IT manager. Oh yeah, well that's, yeah. I'm an IT manager for myself. That's bad enough. Anyway, what I forgot with the little sealing rings for the USB-C. Nitroglycerin shaker. I presume most of you have seen that video where Cody's lab, Cody, takes a tiny drop of nitroglycerin and hits it with, and damn well nearly blows his finger off, which was pretty scary considering how small amount of nitroglycerin he had. Okay, I shouldn't say nearly blew his finger off. It was just scary because it went all the way through his welding glove and, put a decent size bit of flesh damage on him, considering. Alright, let's try that again. Hey Warren Stamps, hey Hubman, what are you doing up at this hour? Don't you have a thriving business in a busy shopping centre to attend to tomorrow? Or have they shut you down in Townsville? Jim, that's it's got to be a few years now. I think the hardest thing about tech support is dealing with people that you feel like really have no business being near a computer. Hey Tony W, you feel like saying to them, go to the nearest internet depot and hand in your internet license or your computing license. I mean, I get it. Some people just, don't get a concept, or they haven't quite clicked on it. But it is incredibly frustrating still. I get quite a few people in this town messaging me, asking me if I can help them, train them, guide them and stuff like that. But it's just like, it's always a hard pass on that side. Hard no on that, I'm sorry, but no. Been there, done that. Don't ever want to go through that process again. It is incredibly frustrating. And it's not that's the other trouble, is a lot of the time it is not their fault. It's just that there's so many underlying fundamental aspects that you know about just by what do you call it, prior stuff that you know, which lets you understand what you're doing. And you basically have to go back and teach them all of that stuff, and it's like, nope, this is going to take me forever. Particularly when they pull it on you when you're on a house call. Oh, why are you here? Can you just help me do... It's like, oh dear God. That's when you need an emergency exit type scenario developed. Hey, Keith McDermott. See, I get it daily when they ask me mid-repair, expect me to drop a paying customer's right. Oh yeah, hell no. Yeah. I get a fair number of people wanting me to help them transfer their stuff from an old phone to a new phone. And yeah, that's not that bad, but it's always the case of there's a million other things that emerge from that. And it's like, I'm already working way too long, and I don't feel like I get paid enough by my boss. I really don't want to extend to that. Now, of course, the counter argument is people say, well, you don't know, you might get a customer for life. And it's like, some of these customers that you really don't want for life. You really just want to say, ta-ta, goodbye, see ya, never call me again. Put their number on block. New Retro Repair, thank you for the £20. Thank you for the VC8145 GitHub project and responding to your email. Code helped me to better understand. Oh, right, cool. And did you have success in actually getting that to go? Was some of the problem the USB, I should say the serial port itself, or was it something else that you found? But thank you very much for that. Much appreciate the 20 quid. Hey, Gav Brad. I do need to go out and buy myself a whole bunch of different multimeters that have decent communication protocols on them or interfaces, and write up software for them. Now I realize that there's I think it's the SIG-RS or something like that. There's an open source project that covers almost all of them. But the trouble is, it's a very comprehensive project, and it does a squillion amazing things, but sometimes you don't want a squillion amazing things, you just want, like what we're using here, just something that does one thing on screen. That's all you care about. It was the port. You used a Bluetooth adapter in the end? How did that work? Did you get a serial to Bluetooth adapter or something? I'm kind of curious how that worked. Because I've never had much luck with Bluetooth at all. It's just a complete and utter mind-numbingly painful thing for me. Hey Rilla. Hey Warren. We always used to say that there was never a job we didn't want, just customers we didn't want. Yeah, Warren, that's actually probably a better way of stating it. Because a lot of the time, yeah, it's not that you can't do the job, it's not that you don't explicitly want to do the job, it's just that you don't want to be dealing with certain people because you know that it's a tar pit. Especially when you've got a lot of other paying jobs in the queue that you got to get to. And you know that the people who need the most time are almost always the people who have the least money. Now, I don't mean to be some sort of snobbery type or anything, but you do have to make a living in this world. So, okay, I've got to take this off because it has customer information. You can see where the corrosion was on that. Or at least you might be able to. But yeah, all in there. Actually, I might just wipe that out a little. Cigar OK, yeah, I think that's it. Sigrock or whatever, however you pronounce it. That's the one. So it contains basically most test equipment these days, but yeah, it's a little bit over the top for what I want. Serial Bluetooth, nice. ESO, the 8266, yeah, okay. I have got a couple of those, funnily enough, in my bag of goodies, and I've just never used them. I think because I was so annoyed with Bluetooth when I had the O1 B35 that I just walked away. So, oh, it booted for me anyway. Oh, signal grok. Grok is one of those terms I never really warmed up to. I mean, bling was bad enough, but grok, yeah, grok and I didn't. I never grokked grok. So this is booting and everything, so it's good. It's charging. Thank goodness for that. But I have my concerns about the longevity of this. Anyway. So it's that one done. We hope. And we'll get the next one. 1708s are becoming a bit like my 1466s lately. Seems to be now is the time of the 17088. 1708. Okay, let's put this one up. Beep. Hard crash when running Ableton. I don't know what Ableton is, but I think it's a performance like load system. A bit like me running Valley and stuff like that. CD3215 is supposed to blink when it changes 5. What do you mean by blink? Do you mean that little dongle thing? It might have been because it already had battery connected. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. With the blinking. It might be just a refresh synchronization thing. I don't know. All I know is the machine boots, so I'm happy. Okay. Bonk. Yeah, let's hope no CPU issues. Okay. Well, first impressions is it's clean, and this is an 840 board. There's a little bit of scoring here. I don't know if you can see that. I wouldn't actually. It's not scoring, more of like something arced around there, which is not a good thing. Hey, Kath. Okay. I'm just having a quick look. It's like the first opportunity, the only opportunity you get to have a non-biased look at it. There's definitely some heating going on there. It might be normal, but can't be sure. Alright, we'll plug it in, and mind you, this supposedly does boot okay. It's just unstable. The USB-C ports are a bit sloppy. Okay. This will probably start spinning up. Alright, we are missing our... Oh, there it is. Wow, that just came out. Alright. That there could actually be the problem. That flex just came out like that. Because if the machine is under extreme load, it often will need the battery to help pump it back up. We're going to take it out and have a look. But it would not surprise me if that was the problem, because many a time I've got quite a few of these in stock because they fail very frequently. It could also simply be that it was stuck too strongly to the back of this, and when I lifted it up it was enough to pull it off. But we'll inspect it and see. Yeah, Miles, I certainly hope not. When it gets to boards with those crater situations, I tend to walk away from them. Unless it's for a data recovery situation, most of the time it's pretty much just... you're just delaying the inevitable, the very soon to happen inevitable. Anything new on the house? Carpet on Monday, and tiles at the end of the week next week, and we're looking like we're going to go ahead with knocking out the wall between the two rooms. It was funny, the guy was in today and he's looking at the walls that we want to knock out, and he says to me, he says, "Do you really want to remove this wall?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I'm asking, that's why I got you here." And he's like, "No, just checking." And then he gets his hammer and he starts smashing into the wall to try and see what type of wall it is and things like that. And I was like, right, now I understand why you're trying to make sure I was absolutely certain about that wall, because you've gone and put a medium-sized hole in it now. Easy enough to fix, but it was just funny. Because I was like, why is he asking me so specifically? But we do quite like the builder that we have. He did my front office, and he's obviously done the back patio. He also did our second bathroom. What's really good about this chap is that he's actually very quiet. You often get builders and okay, that's weird. So both rubbers are stuck together. That explains why it felt a bit funny, perhaps. But yeah, you often get builders and they'll come in and they're like raucous as hell. And you're like, shut the hell up. You know, it's like, okay, they're building, it's noisy, but they don't have to be so raucous on top of it. Will you create a cat recovery? Yes. The back patio that we've almost got finished now, that will be the recovery room. Okay, I'm just looking for signs of corrosion anywhere. Nothing jumping out at me. Okay, so I really wouldn't be surprised if it was that flex. It's the sort of thing that would drive you mad until you find it, and then it'll drive you mad for the fact that you spent hours trying to find it. Okay. It could also just be a tiny smidge of corrosion somewhere. It seems to have... there's some indications of liquid around here. WW2? Right, this is from the 1940s, is it? Yeah, this is fast becoming a board where I think that I will actually test it considerably extensively. Okay, we do have some corrosion right there. But that is not really in a critical point. Okay, we've got wait, there's... what? Okay, I don't know whether this is a manufacturing fault or whether this is someone else has been here for, but I just removed those two and there's still already one on there. Sweet, I've got a free USB-C bung or gasket, whatever you want to call them. Thank you, Catherine. Peter, he hasn't actually penetrated all the way through the wall. But he did ask. That was the whole point. He was saying, you really... Fortunately, like I said, we know him quite well enough. Okay, what is that noise? Oh yeah, that's just downright weird, hearing tapping noises on my window and no one's there. Okay, we've got another issue here on the keyboard though. See how that contact has protruded? I'm not really sure how this gets to happen, but I do see it occasionally on this particular model. There we go, put that back. Are the walls in your house including interior ones? Yes, they are. And they're very solid block. There's not a lot of concrete fill that goes into them. There's basically a small hole for the rebar to go through, and that's it. And a little bit of concrete fill, but not much more than that. Alrighty, what have we got going on here? So I can't work out what this is. So that really feels like flux, but this feels like old liquid. That's flux. It could all just be old flux. Some jaggy cracking there. Yeah, Victor Alia, sorry. I don't know why I called you Victor Alia. I would almost think throw this in the ultrasonic and see what happens. And yeah, my blame is mostly resting on that battery data flex at this point. I mean, these certainly have been getting warm. Okay, that substance is... yeah, it looks like... it really does look like flux. And it's got... what do you call it? Thermal transfer compound on it too. Yeah. And overall, it looks like it's been baked. Like all this golden hue on everything. It's generally what happens when they bake it. Could have also been that keyboard connector doing funny things. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing any soldering on this thing. I think that to do so would be a mistake. I'm almost certain it's flex related on the battery here. Just see if all these pins are intact. Well, it does run. That's the thing. It does run. It's just problematic. It will crash and things like that. And that's why I'm thinking the battery data flex is the problem. Because if you're running purely off the USB-C, sometimes there are moments during high loads when you really do need the battery to give a bit of a helping hand. Yeah, particularly, there can be scenarios where the USB-C input just doesn't keep up fast enough, whereas the battery is pretty much instantaneous dispatchable. But I feel like I would be incorrect in just diving in and start soldering on this, because I've got nothing compelling saying to me I'm faulty. Yeah, no. We'll go get another machine. This one's just going to go back into a bit of a test run. And I mean, if I'm wrong and if I spot something later, that's great. You know, at least I've found a reason then. But to just go along and start soldering things or reflowing things without having at least half a reasonable chance of it being the cause, it's just going to cause you more grief down the road. Right, we'll go get a 1398 that I've got to fix as well. Won't be long. Ableton's music creation software. Ah, okay, thanks. Alright. This is another one that I'll have to take the bottom off with nobody watching, sorry. So you just have to put up with my face. This is my face, as Ozzy says. 765. Easier than me trying to take the stickers off, because they're custom, client stickers. Chances are if you take those stickers off, then they'll fall off halfway. The client will not know who the machine was for, and you'll be in trouble. Oh, okay, we've got a screw missing on the front there. And you can't see that, but I at least mentioned it. Hey Lars. Alright. Well, okay, we can go to overhead now. Do the disconnect. What is this, 138 or... Yep, 138. Hey, yummy steak. Only my wife may command facial trimming activities. Okay, so they're not getting any screen output. We've got a bunch of dust building up down the bottom edge here, so it could be corrosion. Okay, let's see if we've got no backlight or no image. Current seems about right. Oh, I'm an idiot. Just check the... Okay, we've got no backlight. And that reboot was probably because I moved the MagSafe. Yeah, we don't seem to have a backlight. But that does not mean backlight's faulty. It could just mean that the cable's faulty, or it's not getting an enable signal. Yeah, there's many reasons why you might not get a backlight. Connector seems okay. Bit of junk on there, but overall it's okay. Yeah, it's just some random fluff. Pins seem perfectly good. Alright, let's get this board out of here. It's funny when you look back on having done repairs over a few years. I remember one of the first jobs that I had that wasn't a 1466 or a simple 1278 or that. It was actually a 3332 with a U8900 fault. And I remember being quite overwhelmed by the disassembly procedure to get the board out, because I had to disassemble this whole area here, and I almost really didn't want to keep going ahead with it. I was worried I was going to completely fluff it up. But I got through it. But nowadays you sort of look back and you think, gee, it's easy enough. I don't know what I was worried about. But I guess for some people, when you're first starting, you're paranoid about stuffing things up. for other people, they don't give two hoots. And they're usually the ones, unfortunately, that end up butchering a lot of boards. Now, personally, I wish I wasn't quite so crippled by that, what would you call it, anxiety? But yeah, I just wish I wasn't quite so inhibited by that. And I think that's where the desire to have enough cash reserves to just go out and buy a whole new machine and tear it down. That's where that sort of compulsion's coming from. Because then you can go, well, okay, fine. It was my own money. It would have been nice if I didn't lose it, but I haven't lost someone's data. I've only got to explain the situation to myself, not to a customer who is not only now inconvenienced by this situation, but they've lost trust in me and all those sort of negative emotions. Yeah, your mistake. Probably a different cause on this one. I did fix that other one. It wasn't anything that anybody said. Trying to think now what it was. Oh, that's right. It was just a screen cable. It was a combination of two things. The VRMs were faulty, and the screen cable was faulty. Hello, Debrashi, or however one is meant to pronounce your name. Welcome. Yeah, well, we've got to get this circuit board out, and then we can find out what's wrong with it. Or at least pretend to. So many screws. Still, I'll take the screws rather than those damn flexes on the 1700 board. Okay, we've got to get this plastic. Okay, that's out. Now we can get this silver screw out. And I think that's everything. Yep, there we go. Okay. Okay, let's check under the microscope, see what we can find. This could be a lid switch fault as well. I'll check that first. There is corrosion around the lid switch area. Those test points have seen better days. Jessica, no. I mean, yeah, we have gone through that situation with pregnant girl cats so many times. We're actually very thankful at this point. We have gotten to the situation where they are desexed, and that is a significant load off our minds. Okay, this really needs a brush down. It's a bit dirty. It's pretty unpredictable how many they're going to have, I can tell you that much. Some of them will only have 2 if you're really lucky, some will have 6. So I hope for your sake it's just 2, being young, but because we've definitely, you can see how that conformal coat is just coming right off. So there's certainly been corrosion there, but whether it's enough to have caused issues, I don't know. The resistor looks a little funny, but we're going to put it down to manufacturing for the moment. I certainly don't see enough damage here to explicitly blame it, but yeah, Catherine, goodness knows how many we've done too. It's the only thing you can do, isn't it? It's just, it doesn't matter if someone else can't pay for it. We're happy to, we'll pay out of our pocket to make sure that they get desexed, because it's a rotten life if they don't. There's been a couple that we haven't been successful with, and that weighs on our heart quite a lot. I think there's about 3, maybe 4 that we just couldn't rescue early enough, and at least 2 of them just disappeared one day, and that, I try not to think about it too much, but every now and then, you're just lying there in bed and you get memories of all the ones that you weren't able to rescue in time. Alright, we've got a bug, a literal bug. This is like a miniature cicada. That will not be our fault, because that was on the Wi-Fi module. These VRMs probably would do well to be replaced. It is entirely possible that they are in fact the fault. It's also possible it's the screen cable. Yeah, once again, I'm not really finding nothing jumping out. Wow. Going round in circles here, I'm afraid. We'll actually have to bring out the multimeter at some point. Now, the only area we have of any damage is you can see the corrosion has gotten in under that layer, but this is all ground plane, so it's not explicitly going to be a problem, but it is a bit of a indicator that okay, there was some sort of corrosive liquid around here. So naturally you would tend to start looking around here, but this is an audio chip, so that doesn't really make sense. Hey Wade, what have you been up to? You got an absentee note for me? Explain why you haven't been here. Again, that's just ground. And that speaker, so you can't blame that either. Solderable, but that's normal. A couple more, see they're all over the place really. When you start looking, you find solder balls attached to the pads everywhere. It's pretty normal. Yeah, Miles, the only thing that's on the other side is the, like I said, the what do you call it, lid switch. So that's where I'm probably going to do some testing, but I'm not at all going to be surprised if it comes up working just fine. I'm just raking off all this damaged area. Because if you don't get rid of it, it does still tend to grow a little bit. Well, we'll power it up and see what the lid switch value is. When did it switch over to that? Hey, Hippies DMX, Fly on Scar. Yeah, when did it switch over to the face view? Or did I never switch it back a few minutes ago? Oh, geez. Sorry, folks. It's a little weird. I think it might have been an accidental button push or something from the mouse. Yeah, it might have been because the mouse is in moderate proximity and it might have got tapped. And it was just pure flukish luck. Oh, you know what the other cause can be is sometimes it's the daughter board. Alright, stick this back in the chassis. We'll see if it gives anything on backlight output. And we'll also test to see what SMC lid is. Hey Mohammed, alright Hubman, enjoy your lovely day at work tomorrow with all those delightful people. This is the downside of having clean boards. So we've got one possible cause, a bit of damage, but yeah, it's not a lot to go on this one. At least it's more than the 1708 that we had just before. Okay, I'm plugging everything, well, most things are back in so that I can control it. What's wrong with my erasers? Okay, we'll leave that up. Yeah, and still, I do need something that can be activated remotely. I do agree. Volts. God damn it. Surprisingly difficult to... Did we even get a bong? Two amps. It was definitely running because I don't even have the battery connected. Jimbo, you can actually do that, but unfortunately my upload capacity wouldn't be able to cope, nor would my computer. Okay, 2.2 is actually a little bit excessive for a non-charge situation. It's definitely CPU cooking up a storm. Just gonna go get my test disk. Hey Milo, what do you want? What? You don't get to go in. No. Technical work in there. What? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Other than trying to claw me to death. Come on. Good boy. Come on. Out you go. Oh. Alright. Come on. I can't do that lift. Can't do that dirty dancing lift. It doesn't work. Come on. There you go. Look. Oh. Same as every time. See? Say hello to the people. There. Alright. Time to step you back out now. There you go. Alrighty. Oh, what did I do with that stick? No, that's Milo. Or as we mostly call him, Momo. Because no one ever calls their cats by their proper names. It's unacceptable. Okay, let's try this again. If we don't get a bong on this, then I'm just gonna... Oh, great, we got a bong on it. As I said, if we don't get a bong on this, I'm just gonna go straight for the VRMs. Would love to know if I'm getting data or not. Okay, there is a way I can find out if we're generating data or not. Let's see, where are you? Ah, sweet Bridget. Why is everything such a freaking mess around here? Honestly, it's like the owner of this place does not take good care of things. These are very convenient little screens. This one was sent to me by Jim Hook. Ah, damn it, it was coming on and I turned it off. Alright, so I'll disconnect that, disconnect the display cable, plug it back in, and hold down the option key and see what comes up. Okay, Victor, enjoy the day. Okay, we do get a signal then, yes. Alright, so we can in fact see, what happened then? Oh, that's just my bad HDMI cable. Okay, so we can see it is generating a signal. So the question now is, do we just have a bad backlight driver? You know, we're chasing back the other way. Maybe we even got a bad mux. I don't know if this one has a mux though, because this all comes internal. Yeah, that's through Thunderbolt port. Well, I was using the multimeter to see if it was even getting voltage. Right. First thing I'll do is I'll compare the backlight line with and without it being connected to the screen. See what the diode values are like for that. And we'll just keep working our way through. And hope that we hit a winner. Okay, diode. Okay, so 1.26. Okay, seems fine. A little on the high side, to be honest. I would have thought it'd be something a bit lower. Anyway, we'll see how it compares now with the other way around, Paul. Hey, Damaris, long time. Yes, where have you been? Working, I guess. Okay, so we don't really have a big difference here when we plug it in, so that means it's not shorted to ground on the backlight output line. So we now work our way back. Time to bring up the flexboard view. This is actually a 163 sort of type board in this area, I think. Yeah, this is more 163. Check the fuse. Okay, fuse up here. This is all that backlight area up here. Check the continuity on that. Ah, you can't see. Hey, Creative Visuals in New Zealand. Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing suckfully on the COVID lockdowns, of course. You guys seem to do a better job than we do. Should get 0. Okay, that's pretty much 0, so that's fine. It could also be a bad screen cable. I said it won't be the first time. I'm trying to think where that corrosion was. Again, this is definitely a scenario where if I don't see dud stuff, I'm more inclined to check that cable first. It's easier for me to check the cable first than go for other options. And it's not the backlight line that usually is the problem on the cable. Often it's one of the signal lines, or the 3v3, or was it 3? One of the voltage lines that goes into the screen itself. Unfortunately, I do not have another 138 type screen. I do have 3332 types, but I don't have one of these ones. Yummy Steak, why do you say the cable was replaced by the previous tech? Oh, right. Replace cable. I don't know if they took... Oh, shit. Replace cable, test a different screen. Now I've got to try and remember what they were doing, though. Since when has what people written actually mean anything? 765... Tested using external monitor. So here's the other problem is... What do they mean by cable? Test a different screen, okay. What is interesting is that they tested using an external monitor, but they don't actually say whether it was successful or not. That's frustrating. I guess we'll check SMC lid actually. We were meant to do that, but everybody distracted me. Arnold, yes, that's another possibility, is that the connectors are forcing the constant output. And there is corrosion in there, so that is somewhat possible. Mind you, I think it takes a bit more than just plugging in to make them switch screens. Hippie DMX. Bad time for super chat. Just went keep it meow. Oh, sorry, mate. How to render PDF. The PDF is being rendered through. Crikey, I can't remember the name of the project now. But anyway, it's not Foxit or anything like that. It's the actual GhostScript type engine. So it's substantially more obscure. Yeah, I'm just going to test SMC lid, see if that does anything interesting. Mu PDF, that's what it is. MU PDF. It's funny with Mu PDF, they use the GPLA license, which is extremely, yeah, frustrating to deal with. And when you license the Mu PDF engine from them, I can tell you this much, it's very expensive and it's ongoing. One day I may consider moving over to the Foxit Pro engine instead. Hey Mark, good evening. Let's see, what am I doing? Not thinking, that's what I'm doing. Okay, interesting. SMC lid is one of those corroded pads. So, but it's not that corroded, but we'll see. We'll see. No, not so much a Mu PDF. MU PDF. If you know GhostScript, then you know Mu PDF already. Just going to test the diode mode on this. 4.7, so it does feel connected. There might actually only be a test pad, that one. We'll just see if we get the same diode value over here. Is there another point where it is? If I can find it. Mu PDF license, but depends on what you can negotiate with them. Needs to say, I would probably suggest the Foxit licenses are probably going to be more. We do have a slight problem here. If I'm correct, that is SMC lid. I don't think I'm correct. I'm in the wrong place. Yeah, I'm in the wrong place. This is probably because it's the wrong board. It is in this area. We'll switch over to the 138. Arnold G, no, you'll probably find UPDF actually has a more precise, pedantic rendering of PDFs. May not always look the prettiest, but it should be technically correct. Sort of what their thing is. Okay, yeah, things are very different on this board. Very, very different. Yeah, this is becoming a major pain in my butt, because I'll show you the comparisons. Quad display. Okay, even the notching is not the same. So this is not really the 138 board. It's something close enough to it. So like things like your ISL and your major stuff tends to be the same. But when you're dealing with things like the SMC lid and whatnot, it's different. Let's see if we can find it over here. Okay, so we do have. Okay, but then it breaks down here and we don't have. No. So I've got to find the board view which is actually similar. So we could try the 163. Again, we'll pick up SMC lid. Go over to the SMC area. No, it's not the same. Yeah, so this is really sucking. Obviously we can't test that particular ball there. Alright, so about the only thing we can do then is power it, put a magnet near it, and see if this value changes. Interestingly, the Sumatra PDF engine is actually a new PDF. It's just that it's a very old fork of Mu PDF, and then they have continued to develop it from there. But its original origin was the GoScript Mu PDF engine. I have a feeling they might have forked it prior to them the license being changed, because honestly, AGPL or GPLA, whatever it is, it really is a horrible license. I sincerely don't recommend anybody engage with it if they have a choice. But at the time I got running around with this, it was the only thing I could do or use. Okay, so we've got 3.43. Now I need a magnet of some sort. I've only got like 50 million magnets here. Fly. Yeah. Come on now. Just stay there until I can get a magnet near you. Okay, that's switching normally, so can't blame that. Yeah, well, MIT or LGPL would be beautiful. You know, MIT would just be absolutely lovely. I don't think I've ever found a good MIT license. I don't think any exists. The other option you could try is Google's PDF engine. But the problem I had with the Google one was that it was exceptionally complicated to get building, and I think you needed to Go to build it along with a whole lot of other dependencies. And I think that's why I ended up persisting with the Mu PDF, because it's actually just written in C. It's nothing else but C. The downside is that when it comes to the OpenGL implementation calls, it does take a fair bit of butchering to get it to come good. At some point I would like to make a ImGUI version of it, but I don't see that happening anytime too soon. I end up having to wrap mine with SDL2 just to make it work reasonably okay. Okay, that lock pin there is lifted up a bit. I'll check each of these pins are actually still soldered to the board. I mean, they look it, but that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, overview cam's always obscured when the microscope is out. That's just the nature of it. The only reason why I have that there is because I honestly couldn't think of anything else to put in its place. It's not because I actually wanted to show people the overhead so much. But I do wish more core type libraries like PDF and stuff like that were available under certainly at least LGPL. But MRT would be nice. I mean, everything used to be MRT or BSD or X type licenses for a long time. And we're all pretty happy with how that was. And then GPL came out and it was like, the wars started. Okay, they're all good. Crud. This is getting annoying. Okay, hippie, have a good one. Yeah, JCT, I actually would like a different sort of... I do have the cameras where I've got a spare couple of 922s. I could also get another HDMI output camera because I've got 2 more spare slots on the capture card. So I could actually have something that was, facing inwards from over here and get a bit of a backside view of the board, not me. Let's put this back in, do some more measurements. See if we're even getting the enable signal and things like that. At least on this board you can actually do that because the controller is up the top, which was probably a mistake on Apple's behalf. Breast. Could you check see what board you use the screen cable and use that board view to do your testing? The cable's the same between these, all of the 1398s and 1502s. The trouble is that the signaling is different between the various years, so I don't have the particular year I want on hand. So anyway, according to the information sheet, they have already tried a different screen. So we're going to focus in on this area, see if we get an enable signal, things like that. Well, I'm going to have to flip the screen open just to ensure that the SMC lid does not induce it to stop. For all we know, this could be an SMC fault. Hey, Copaz. Well, we're not even getting anything on the output, that's the problem. Okay, I'm going to go quad view here. And we're just going to check the fundamentals. Now I know that the fuse was good, but it doesn't mean that it's actually getting power. Okay, so we do have voltage into the fuse. Hey Mark. It's a 820138. Anyway, we're just going to dig around here. Okay, backlight enable when low on pin 3. So where are you? This is you here. Alright, so backlight is not being enabled at the moment because we're sitting at 12 volts on that, and yeah, that's clearly not right. Now, what's going to be interesting is to see if it does enable it momentarily and then gives up or not. So we'll just turn off the power, turn it on, stick our probe on, and just keep an eye on that number. Yeah, it doesn't even consider taking a dive. Alright, so we're not generating backlight enable. Okay, at least out of the chip. Let's see if we actually get it from the input. So we want to test this pin here and see if the chip itself is being told to turn it on. Okay, 3.3. Okay, so we are being told to turn on the backlight. So we could have a dead chip, dead driver. Yeah. Okay, it's not a guarantee, but at this point, it's worth a shot. At least we are getting the signal, and that is the most important thing. It would actually be more of a problem if we were not getting the backlight enable signal coming into the backlight driver. It's okay if the backlight driver doesn't generate the enable signal, that's fine. It just means it could be faulty. Or there could be another factor involved, maybe something holding it down. But if you look at the schematic, let's see, schematic. So we're getting this backlight enable goes into the chip to enable it, but we're not getting this one here. Instead, it's not being pulled down. Now basically the only way this can be pulled down effectively is from the SD pin internally pulling them down. I can't think of anywhere else. Oh, actually it could be being shorted by one of these caps, because these go to ground. So if any of those short, then it could pull it down. So we'll test that first. We'll actually test to see if we have a short to ground on the backlight enable pin. Good thing I checked that. A1708 is another possible fault point, yes. But we'll check the short to ground and see how we go. Let's see. Okay, lone capacitor up the top there. Where are you, little cap? Yeah, that's you there. You look a little... Okay, so we do not have a short to ground then. I mean, basically any of these caps over here can be possible. There's also these ones, but the line itself is not shorted, so it's none of those. Now the other possibility is this could be open circuit or very high. 7702. We need to get resistance mode for that. This isn't going to be a perfect value, but yeah, It should be something close. 63k, so yeah, that's bang on. There's no trouble there. So at this point, we'll try the driver. Yeah, a lot of people are probably saying, why don't you just change the driver in the first place? You know, it's backlight failure. Everybody tries the driver in the first place. But you do get, after a while, you do get used to the fact that non-backlight situations are rarely backlight driver faults. They're more often than not something else. And so jumping in and just replacing the backlight driver doesn't tend to achieve anything for you. It just wastes time and messes up the board. Like the previous one, it was just the screen cable itself, or it's the feedback line, or things like that. So you find blindly changing the backlight driver because it's cool to do is not a cool thing to do. Arnold G, you know, I mean, some parts, it's not really that golden under the microscope. It doesn't really have the true burn look. I mean, it might be at fault, but nothing's jumping out to that degree. It's why I really am disinclined to pull chips on boards that look damn well near perfect, like that 1708 before. I'm almost certain that's going to be the battery data flex. I mean, I could well be wrong. Okay. Nothing too obviously visually wrong with that. Even the rainbow look can be a lie, because that can just be from the wash. Damn it! I've already taken the backlight chip off that. Damn it! And that one. Let me guess. And that one. And I don't even know where your backlight chip is. Oh, crikey. Spillage. Oh, you're kidding me? It's almost like every single board I have, the backlight chip is a missing. It's funny the first 6 times, not so much after that. Now this gives me a bit of pause for thought because it's a bit exposed, but we'll try it. We'll try it. Donor boards these days are pretty trashy. It's hard to get one that hasn't been seriously abused. All the good stock's pretty much gone. The only good stock you're ever going to get these days are from dead CPU boards that your customers have given up on and you bought off them for $50. Okay, what the heck are you? You're a MOSFET, but why? Where did you come from? Where did you go? And Arnold G's on the run. He caught that fly ball of music play. That's way too much solder in the middle. Oh well. We'll just have to suffer the indignity of being squeezed out. Hey, Margarita Doctor. Yeah, Pedro, yeah. Mr. I Scam You. He does a roaring trade with his scam business. I hear he's even scamming Apple out of jobs now too. That's highly commendable. And I think I've effed up my keyboard. Yes, a little bit. And I must admit, I do like to just give it another reflow after you've done the squeeze out. Just to give the chip a chance to break any small bridges of solder that may not have retreated back. Just cooling the board off. Alrighty. At least the nice thing I must say about the older boards like this one that don't have the soldered on storage is, of course, if you do have a massive cluster stuff up, then yeah, at the very worst you're up for a new board for the customer. But with these new ones, yeah, there's always the fear of, well, what's going to happen to their data and stuff. So I had a strange thing tonight. I was recovering data from a 1534, because that's all you do with 1534s. You don't fix 1534s, you just recover data from them. And the person forgot their password, which is very normal. You know, people send in their equipment to get fixed 6 months after it stopped working because they decide, oh, you know, now's a good time to, may as well get it fixed. And by that time they've forgotten their password, so it's fine. You know, you can reset it if they're registered with Apple ID, but it turns out the Apple ID doesn't even work. So I've got great. So anyway, I'll boot into another macOS system, just the USB stick one, and fortunately it let me, which is nice. But I couldn't, it would let me see the folders of the user directory and it let me copy them, but it wouldn't actually let me inspect the individual files. So that's fine. I was still able to copy them to an external storage, and then I went to Linux and inspected them, and they showed up. I could see the file names. I'm fairly sure the data's intact. But anyway, it was just unusual that I was even able to do that, because it's like I'm not sure what sort of security layer is being applied there. It's like, oh, well, if you're in macOS, then you can't see anything, but if you're in another system, it's all yours. Airbags are starting to deploy on this thing. Alright, so here we go. Well, there's no flashbang, so that's a start. But that's the thing, it's not even a secure boot, because I was able to boot to Ubuntu, external macOS. And it doesn't look like it was the backlight driver. This is getting complicated now. Interesting, interesting. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Cap lock, yep, cap lock works. Alrighty. Interesting, interesting. Let's take some quick measurements. Yeah, it's not even trying. But like I said, we were getting a navel on that line. Yeah, the chip enable line was definitely there. Schematics. So we are getting this line. Now we already know we get an image out because on the external. What I would like to see though, I need to get a torch for it, but I would like to see if I actually am getting an image as opposed to no image and no back on the display. Because if it's no image on the display, then we've got an entirely different scenario. In that case though, we shouldn't be getting the backlight enable signal. I'm just going to go get a torch. Unfortunate to say, the screen will need to be cleaned. I found it near impossible to see if you've got the Apple logo on a screen that has any sort of marking on it. So we just use this microfiber cloth. give us a slight chance of achieving what we want to achieve. That is the other problem with regards to someone else having done work on it, is you don't know if their test screen was the right one. It's not to say that they used the incorrect year for this machine. Okay, we do have image. I can see the two folders there. I don't know if you guys can. Nah, you're just gonna have to trust me, but there's two folders there. So yeah, we definitely just got backlight not coming up. So that's something. That's better than having no image. If it was no image, then yeah, it would be up the creek in a way. Alright, let's have another look around. There's obviously something else I'm missing. Something I'm not seeing. Something that... yeah. Could be the SMC. Because if the SMC is not running, then it... mind you, what if you... what if you do a pram reset? I know it sounds silly, but occasionally that has worked. So I know it seems silly, but occasionally it works. Can't hurt if it's not. Oh, the dark pin's probably because I'll use the hot air on the controller. Okay, well, we still don't have an output, so it wasn't the pram. I've had on some 1466s and some other machine. Yeah, we've just got two folders again. I've had them deny working on a screen because of some sort of setting. Mind you, to be fair, that was a scenario. That's a scenario where it would work with other screens, but not the screen on the machine. But the screen on the machine would work with other boards, so it was more of a... that particular combination just wouldn't work together. I'm just looking at the schematic so I can think about things a bit more. Right, a crystal chip, rectangular bottom pin, left very... right. Wait, crystal chip, crystal chip. Wait, what? What crystal chip? Can you give me a part number? There's no pads or anything that I can see that's standing out. It's probably a camera aberration. Anyway, looking at schematic and thinking about things. Yeah, you're gonna have to give me a... you're gonna have to give me a part number. I'm sorry. If you're talking about maybe this pin here, then it's just not reflecting as much because it's a convex fillet rather than concave of the others. Diode mode. Yeah, it's just the solder filleting that was different on that. For her. Hey Oscar, I haven't personally, but supposedly a tech has. And like I said, we're getting image, but we're just not getting backlight. And we are getting enable. Yeah, I'm not inclined to always trust other people, but I don't have any explicit reason to think otherwise. I'm just checking the I2C lines at the moment. No, we're not getting any backlight output because what's happening at the moment is we do get the enable signal in, but we do not get the LCD backlight enable low out. That's staying up at 12 volts. I just realized I didn't check C77000. That could actually be shorted. And it's open. Yeah, we're getting 12 volts. This is not opening because we're just holding 12 volts. The MOSFET could be damaged. Actually, getting 12 volts there is actually okay. I've misdirected myself and nobody corrected me, so you'll get a whooping here. This line, this LCD backlight enable low, doesn't actually go to ground per se. It instead goes to a division between this LCD backlight fuse, which what PP bus G3 high, so 12.6. So it should be dropping down to 6 volts, 5 or 6 volts. Mind you, when we measured it, it was up at 12 volts, so it's still too high. And it's very unlikely that that resistor would be going to a lower value or shorting. Resistors generally don't do that. What is possible is that this here is faulty, and we are getting voltage coming in from either the source or the drain or the source, and it's feeding back straight into here. So I would say replacing 7706 would be my next guess. I can actually do a diode check across those pins and see if pin 3 has sort of a fairly low connectivity to places it shouldn't. So, okay, pin 3 there. Well, it's not coming from that side. And it doesn't appear to be coming from that side either. Nor there. Nor there. As far as I can tell, that MOSFET's okay. There doesn't seem to be any leakage, as it were. But we'll give it a swap and see. As far as I can tell, it's okay. It's also entirely possible that our backlight driver is dead from the donor board, so there's no guarantee that it was a good backlight driver. No, the fuse is fine. The problem isn't us not getting power, the problem is that we're not able to pull the gate on that P-channel MOSFET down. We've been told to, but it doesn't do it. And that's either one of two things. Either the driver can't pull it to ground, or it's been held up by a stronger pull-up. I did measure C1708, yeah. So if this doesn't work, then I'm going to actually replace the driver again, just in case that board was damaged. The other possibility is that the automatic shutdown is kicking in, but I can't see any... Yeah, I don't have a short on output or anything like that, so it's unlikely. And that resistor looks perfectly fine. It could be a feedback issue, we'll check that too. Wow, that was actually a little bit tricky to get off. What, test after you pull it off the donor? I'm not sure what you mean by test after I pull it off the donor. You can pretty much only test by putting it back on. I mean, it's just as quick for me to just put it on and see. I guess that's what I'm saying. Okay, you've had your backlight driver. Okay, this one's looking pretty good actually. But yeah, otherwise we may have to do the dreaded area sweep, or the windshield wiper sweep. Well, what we can do as a temporary... Nah, fire truck it. Yeah, nah, mate. Alright. Okay, yeah, no, it's okay. I was reading the wrong number then for a second. Getting late. Reading things funny. Oh, I just realised I'm replacing this sucker. I was going straight for the driver, idiot. Oh, I did take... Damn it! I did not mean to do that. It's probably getting to the point where I really should just... And now I don't have enough heat. It's getting to the point of the night where I really should stop working on boards. Now is the time when I need to start working on software so I can produce beautiful bugs that will troll Lewis. Yeah, because I didn't mean to pull that driver. Yeah, Steve, so was I. A few seconds too late. Yeah, it's not coffee time for me now, it's too late for that. Mind you, in about 4 hours it'll probably be time for coffee again. Chip's a little wonky. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest either. The big problem is if I give this a tap, it's probably going to wreck it. So I'll give it a tap. Yeah, I actually tapped it and didn't ruin it. I did just realise something. We don't know if that the driver chip is even getting power. We didn't test to see if it was getting power. Because if it's not getting power, that would certainly explain it. Well, I can do the power check now. I don't have to put it into the board to check that part of it. I mean, it probably is getting fine, but we gotta check these things. Okay, unfortunately, these board views not matching have become a problem yet again. Pretty sure this is one. Okay, so we've got 5 volts there. The other one is pin 5 down here. Second one, which should be just this cap here. Okay, we've got voltage on both. Yeah. Steve K, you got a census form in the mail. Government wants to know what I'll be doing on August 10th. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they thought you might go out on one of those freedom rallies or something. It's a trick question. They're like, aha, you're not allowed to be on a freedom rally. Can't believe that moron punched a horse. As far as I know, he's now in jail, but who knows what is going to happen there. The trouble is, he's probably gained himself a whole lot of fame for all the wrong reasons, but that guy was like the perfect bogan. It's like he had his mullet, he had his rings, he had his my freedom shirt. It was pretty amazing. It's just, regardless, you know, he shouldn't have been doing that. And I would say the fact that he pushed more than punched was probably more just simply down to his incompetence than his intent. I think the intent was more the driving factor. Damn it, you're not coming up, are you? Yeah, you're not coming up. What the heck is going on with this? Feedback, maybe? This better not be an SMC. I just can't see it being the SMC. Then again, let's see, what can I try? Could be the PWM bottomed out. But I don't think these. No, actually, yeah, the PWM comes through the SMC on these ones, not the. It's not a frequency input line. I'm going to check the backlight feedback line, pin 21. And verify that it has the same diode value on both ends. Yes, LCD connector pins are being checked. Okay, pin 21. Okay, 0.72. The only thing with this, unlike the 1466 type boards, this one doesn't really have a big jump to go across, but we'll check it anyway. And it's the same. So both on the chip and on the divider, it's the same. Mind you, now we should really check to see... yeah, they're right next to each other, so... yeah, it's all part of the same circuit. In this particular board, the divider for giving you feedback is connected straight to that output diode, so no problem there. 1.2, 0.88, so that makes sense. Okay, what about... okay, we got a problem here. Oh wait, no, that's ground. No. I had a moment of hope there. 0.65. No, we actually do... maybe I'm misreading this. Yeah, I was misreading that, sorry. For a moment then I thought I was looking at the clock and data lines, but I'm not. Okay, 15 and 16. Middle two up the top. Yeah, I just want to test these clock and data lines to see that they're the same. Okay, that should not be an open circuit. That's more like it. 0.52 is about right. Okay, there is enough of a difference there. 0.49. Okay, it's 0.5 versus 0.52. That is enough of a difference that there could be an issue there, because that should just be going to the SMC, and they should be 0 ohm resistors. So that means one of those data lines is slightly loaded compared to the other. I've been told by Thunderbolt. I don't think so, because I'm being told the line is being told to enable. .2 and rising. That's tolerable, I guess. Okay, the pull-ups are about right. So I think the SMC might be at fault. Alright, can you give me the explanation on the Thunderbolt? While I have a look at the SMC. Like I said, the fact that the data lines are off slightly is actually a problem. Normally those data lines should be easily within 1% of each other. So you could have, say, 0.49 and 0.5, or 0.5 and 0.51, but to have 0.49 and then 0.52, yeah, that's kind of a little bit suspicious. Still, I'm not exactly sure why. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that's not getting the pull down to occur. And does not help that this looks perfectly decent here. Okay, we'll take the edge bonding off, give it a reflow, see how we go. Yeah. Easy backlight job's my backside. I'll have a look to see if there's any, what do you call it, test points outside the SMC for those particular pins. There probably won't be because of the fact that they're exposed back at the backlight. And typically you only put test points out for scenarios where you don't have access to that particular data line elsewhere. I mean, there's obviously plenty of times where you do get multiple instances. You got to remember also, test points are there not so much for humans, but rather for the in-factory testing machines. The bed of nails systems. Can't tell if that pin right in the middle is darker than the others or whether it's just an optical illusion caused by the two parts, two caps either side. It's looking pretty damn clean, unfortunately. That's a very clean SMC. Very, very, very disinclined. Hey, how's the moth? I'm just about to give up for the night. I think it's gotten to the point where I'm probably trolling myself more than not. Because it's not even trying. It's not even trying to turn it on. And we're not even at the PWM portion. So we're just simply at the first stage where it would turn on and send power to the part where the PWMing or the boosting would occur. So we're not even getting power into the boosting section, and we've already replaced that MOSFET. and we know we're getting the enable signal. I think I'm going to leave it for tonight, because I think I'm definitely going to now just get to the point where I'm going to do more damage or create a bigger rabbit hole than what I need to. So we're going to leave that one go. Bit of a dud night in that respect, but you know, it's that way sometimes. And I'll go do some software coding. Although with the software, Flex Board View is now pretty much at the point where I'm probably going to put it on the release, take it out of the alpha beta sort of phase and put it in full release. I will keep the older versions there for people who want to still stick with the older stuff, but if you want to get access to the open board data integration, then you need to go with the latest ones. The latest version we've got is A1708. That's the one I've been using tonight. Any injured traces? No, nothing that I can see. That's the trouble, Steve. It's pretty much a clean board, except for around the SMC lid section. So, but we are getting a proper SMC lid response. It is sending it, you know, to the SMC as best I can tell. So I'm wondering if we do in fact have a bad SMC, maybe the corrosion around the SMC lid area sent a bad voltage to the SMC and it's hurt. I don't know. House of Moth, right, well, House of Moth 1366 came out tonight, or last night, I can't remember, one of these nights. And there really isn't a huge amount different. So we'll switch over to the schematic. There were just a couple of little niggly faults that some people brought up, which hopefully are now fixed. The first one, which is a long-standing one, was when you hit the search, that cursor would not always appear there, so now that should actually always appear. Yeah. And yeah, that works. The other one was some people like to double click on things, like double click and it does the search. I should actually change it to something else so that so that works now. So they were the two main things that were causing some grief with some people, and hopefully that's fixed, or it does seem to be fixed. Let's see, have I got any data on this board? Search, probably not. Yeah, I didn't think so. It's actually a little bit tricky to do the data on these 1.6 boards because of the fact that the board views are different to the board itself. So there's going to be some areas where it just doesn't make sense. Yep, nothing on that one either. Let's see. I'm trying to think, what else have I added into? Let's go to a board that does have data. 1521 should have data. Oh yeah, on some of the, we'll go to the 165. Yeah, okay. On the new ones, if you want to change the set of OB data that you're looking at, like if you want to check the backlight thing, there is, like if someone has put in explicit data for if a particular condition is happening, as in the backlight chip has been removed, then you can switch over to that, and then you can see, you know, the data's there for those particular points. I thought there was more for this one. Maybe it's on 3437. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Okay, so like in this particular case on 3437, someone's put in a bunch of data that applies only for when that chip is off. You don't have to have those green little things there. The green thing is just simply to give you an idea of where the data is. It's more for me, if anything else, because it's nice to be able to know what areas you still have to go with the data collection. The other thing we did add, I'll go to a board that I haven't put data into so I can erase it later, is one thing that I often was encountering and was frustrating me was you can put in a bunch of data on the chip, the part. Like you go, you know, edit the part and you can go through, put all those in. But many a time I would want to do a collection of test points. Like say if I wanted to do all these test points, and then I added the ability to just select a bunch of points and then edit the selection of pins, and that way you can use the multimeter capture and you can just stomp through them. So as I press enter, it goes through them. It removes any duplicates as well. So that's pretty much where it is at this point. I consider it to be ready to roll. Give it a go. Let me know if it doesn't work. So here we go. Alright, I'm out of here. I'm going to go and get some more programming done. Either that or I'm going to sit around and watch bad TV. Who knows which way it's going to go. Thank you all for watching. Sorry we didn't have any great wins, but maybe tomorrow we will. Anyway, till then, you take care. I'll see you later.